What if the one thing blocking your manifestations isn't the universe? It's your own brain. What if every dream you've been praying for, working for, visualizing for is actually being held hostage by a fear you don't even know you have? Neuroscientists say your mind is wired to choose safety over success, survival over growth, and the familiar over the future you're trying to create. So what if every time you tried to level up, your brain pulled you back, not because you're unworthy, but because it thinks your destiny is a danger? What if your fear isn't a warning, but a glitch? And what if the moment you understand this, the moment you see how your mind has been misreading your dreams as threats, your entire life starts to shift? Stay with me, because once you understand what your brain has been hiding from you, you'll never look at manifestation the same way again. What if the biggest thing stopping your manifestations was never the universe, never your timing, never your luck, but a silent fear hiding inside your own brain? Neuroscientists reveal that the one fear blocking your manifestations is the fear of uncertainty, a fear so deep your brain would rather sabotage your dreams than allow you to step into the unknown. And the shocking part is, you don't even know it's happening. Your brain is a prediction machine. It survives by knowing what comes next. Even if your current life is painful, stressful, or unfulfilling, your brain sees it as safe because it's familiar. The moment you imagine a bigger life, more money, better relationships, confidence, success, the brain doesn't see it as growth. It sees it as a threat. So when you say, I want to manifest a better future, your mind whispers back, but what if we lose control? That tiny whisper activates the amygdala, your fear center, and within milliseconds, your brain shuts the door to possibilities you're meant to walk into. You think you're procrastinating, but you're actually protecting yourself. You think you're unmotivated, but your brain is choosing the comfort of predictability over the risk of change. You think the universe is delaying your manifestation, but it's your fear of the unknown pulling you back every time you take a step forward. Every new dream triggers your survival system, and instead of moving towards your destiny, you cling to the familiar cage you've been living in. What if your brain prefers a toxic relationship because the pain feels predictable? What if you stay stuck in the same financial level because abundance feels unsafe? What if your manifestation isn't blocked by lack of belief, but by your mind desperately trying to avoid uncertainty at all costs? The truth is, your brain doesn't care about your goals. It cares about your survival. And the scariest thing is that you can desire a bigger life with your conscious mind while your subconscious mind pulls you back into the old one. That internal tug of war is why your manifestations feel delayed, blocked, or distant. When you understand that your fear of uncertainty is the invisible force steering your decisions, you stop blaming fate and start reclaiming your power. Because the moment you step into the unknown, even trembling, you teach your brain a new language, possibility. What if every dream you ever wanted was actually being misread by your own brain as danger? What if the goals you're trying to manifest are triggering the same part of your mind that reacts to threats, pain, and survival? Neuroscientists reveal something shocking. The moment you imagine a future bigger than your past, the amygdala, your brain's fear alarm, starts firing, not because your dream is impossible, but because it's unfamiliar. Think about that. You visualize success, a better relationship, more money, a higher version of yourself, and your brain responds the same way it would if a wild animal was chasing you. That's why your chest tightens, your doubts rise, your mind lists every possible reason why you shouldn't do it. The amygdala doesn't care about your manifestation. It cares about keeping you safe from anything unknown. And the future you're trying to create, it's completely unknown. What if every time you felt resistance, it wasn't a sign to stop, but a sign that your brain is confusing possibility with danger? What if the fear you feel isn't fear of failure, but fear of growth? Your mind is wired to protect your current identity, even if that identity is unhappy, broke, lonely, or lost, because your brain only trusts what it has already survived. Anything new, even good, feels risky. That's why when you dream big, you suddenly lose motivation. That's why you start overthinking. That's why you sabotage opportunities and call it fate. It's not fate, it's biology. Your amygdala is trying to save you from a future that actually belongs to you. It fires because stepping into your next level demands stepping out of your known story. And to your brain, unfamiliar equals unsafe. What if that is the reason you never feel ready? What if that tiny voice saying, don't do it, wait, maybe later, is simply your threat system misfiring? And here's the real shock. Your amygdala doesn't even need proof of danger, only imagination. Your fear is literally a prediction, not a reality. And the moment that prediction takes over, it blocks the energy, intention, and inspired action required for manifestation. When you finally understand that your brain is not rejecting your dreams, it's just confused, you stop shrinking, you stop delaying, you stop surrendering to fear signals that were never meant to guide your destiny. Because the moment you realize your fear is simply the brain reacting to your future, not warning you about it, you finally gain power over the very mechanism that has been holding you back. What if the life you're living right now isn't a result of your choices, but a result of emotional programs your mind stored years ago without your permission? What if the reason your manifestations aren't coming true is because your subconscious is replaying an old script, so powerful that it overrules every new intention you set? Neuroscientists say something shocking. Your subconscious mind doesn't just remember your past, it repeats it until you interrupt the cycle. Think about it. Every fear, every heartbreak, every failure, every moment you felt unworthy or ignored created an emotional imprint. That imprint became a pattern, and that pattern became your default life. So when you try to manifest something new, a healthier relationship, more money, success, confidence, peace, your conscious mind is saying, I want this, but your subconscious is whispering, this doesn't match who we are. And guess which one wins? The subconscious, every time. What if every time you attract the same type of toxic partner, it's not bad luck, but your subconscious pulling you toward what feels emotionally familiar? What if you keep ending up at the same financial level because your mind only feels safe earning what you've earned before? What if you sabotage opportunities because your subconscious believes you're not worthy of the next step? These patterns don't care about logic. They care about emotional memory. Your subconscious is not trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect you by keeping you in environments that match your old emotional identity. Now imagine this, you are trying to manifest abundance while your subconscious is still operating from memories of scarcity. You're trying to manifest love while it's still storing memories of abandonment. You're trying to manifest success while it's replaying memories of failure. That internal conflict creates a silent friction, a resistance so subtle you don't even realize it's happening. You call it bad timing, lack of motivation, the universe testing you, but it's simply your old programs fighting your new desires. What if the universe isn't ignoring you? You've just been speaking to it with two different voices, one that wants the future and one that's trapped in the past. And until you confront those emotional patterns, until you bring them from the dark into the light, your manifestations will always feel delayed, distant, or blocked, because you can't build a new reality with a mind still anchored to the old one. What if the real reason your manifestations aren't working is because your brain is choosing survival over your success every single time? What if your mind is so focused on keeping you alive that it accidentally kills your dreams in the process? Neuroscientists reveal something shocking. The human brain is wired to prioritize safety, not greatness. And that one instinct silently blocks the life you're trying to create. Think about it. Your dreams require expansion, risk, change, courage, and stepping into unknown territory. But your brain's primary job is to protect you from anything uncertain, unpredictable, or potentially painful. So while you say, I want to manifest abundance, your brain says, but what if we fail? You imagine a better relationship and your brain whispers, but what if we get hurt again? You plan to start a new chapter and your brain panics, but what if we lose what we have? Your goals pull you forward, but your survival instincts pull you back. What if the reason you feel stuck, unmotivated, or scared isn't because you're weak, but because your brain is working too well? It's not trying to ruin your manifestation. It's trying to protect you from the emotional risks your dream requires. Success feels dangerous to a brain that has only known struggle. Abundance feels unsafe to a mind conditioned by scarcity. Love feels threatening to someone who survived heartbreak. Growth feels like death to the part of you that's attached to the familiar. This is why you can want something deeply and still avoid taking action, why you procrastinate, why you shrink, why you self-sabotage without even noticing. Survival mode convinces you that staying where you are is safer than stepping into who you could become. And here's the horrifying truth. Your brain would rather keep you in a miserable but familiar life than allow you to risk stepping into an unfamiliar but better one. What if all those signs you thought were the universe warning you were actually your fear system trying to keep you small? What if every time you felt resistance, it was your brain clinging to old safety rather than embracing new possibility? What if your manifestations aren't delayed, you're just trapped between the life you know and the life you want? When you finally realize your brain isn't the enemy, but a protective guard operating with outdated instructions, everything changes. Because the moment you stop living in survival mode, you stop settling and start manifesting the life that was waiting for you beyond fear. What if the reason your manifestations haven't shown up yet is because your own brain keeps canceling the signal before the universe can even receive it? What if every time you visualize your dream life, there's a hidden fear quietly erasing the frequency you're trying to send out? Neuroscientists reveal something truly shocking. Visualization can rewire your brain for success, but fear can erase that wiring in seconds. Think about that. Every time you imagine your future, your success, your money, your love, your freedom, you're actually creating neural pathways. You're teaching your brain, this is where we're going. Your mind begins to feel that future as if it's already real. That's manifestation at the biological level. But here's the terrifying part. If fear enters the picture, your brain instantly switches from creation mode into protection mode. And when that happens, all the energy, clarity, and possibility you just built collapses like it never existed. What if every time you visualized abundance, your old fears whispered, what if you can't handle it and the signal got blocked? What if every time you imagined the relationship you truly want, your subconscious replayed memories of rejection, dimming the manifestation? What if every time you saw your dream future, your brain responded, this is too big, too different, too unfamiliar, and quietly deleted the vision before it could take root? Your brain is always listening to your dreams, but also to your doubts. You try to manifest with your conscious mind, but your subconscious mind responds with fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of judgment, fear of change. And fear is louder. Fear is stronger. Fear is ancient. It hits the amygdala instantly, flooding your system with signals that tell your brain, don't move forward, stay where it's safe. So even while you're visualizing your future, your fear is pulling you back to your past. What if this is why your manifestations feel inconsistent? One day you're aligned, excited, positive, and the next day you're drained, doubtful, and disconnected. That's not lack of faith. That's fear overriding your neural wiring. That's survival mode erasing your manifestation mode. And the most shocking part, your brain doesn't need proof to activate fear, only imagination. Your fear is manifesting faster than your desires because you feed it more often. When you finally understand that the universe isn't blocking your manifestations, your fear is interfering with the signal, you awaken to a new truth. Your mind is the transmitter. Your emotions are the frequency, and your courage is the amplifier that turns your vision into reality. What if the only thing standing between you and the life you're trying to manifest is a single bold step you keep avoiding? What if the universe isn't waiting for the perfect moment? It's waiting for you to take action so your brain can finally update its map of what's possible. Neuroscientists reveal something shocking. Your brain only stops fearing something after you actually do it. Not when you think about it, not when you journal about it, not when you visualize it, only when you experience it. Think about that. You can visualize success for hours. You can meditate, affirm, repeat mantras. But if you never step forward, your brain has no new evidence to replace your old fears. The mind works like a GPS that updates only after you move. Until then, it keeps showing the same old routes, the same old limitations, the same old boundaries. So while you're trying to manifest a new future, your brain is still operating from outdated coordinates, telling you, this is who you are, this is where you belong, this is all you can handle. What if every small action you avoid is actually the key that unlocks the next level of your manifestation? What if sending that message, applying for that opportunity, setting that boundary, or starting that project is the moment your brain finally understands we're not who we used to be anymore? Bold action doesn't just move your life, it rewires your identity. It tells your subconscious the threat was imagined, the danger wasn't real, we survived. Your brain doesn't learn through intention, it learns through experience. This is why the people who take action, even messy, imperfect action, manifest faster than the people who wait for the perfect sign or perfect timing. Action reduces fear because the unknown becomes known. The unfamiliar becomes familiar. What once triggered anxiety becomes normal. And suddenly the same brain that used to resist your dreams begins to support them. What if the fear you've been running from is actually weaker than you think? What if all these years you've been living inside a mental cage that only required one push to break open? The truth is, your brain cannot update until you step into the world and prove your fears wrong. And the moment you do, manifestation accelerates, not because the universe changed, but because you did. Your life expands at the speed of your courage, and one bold step can shift the entire direction of your destiny. What if the life you've been chasing was never far away, only hidden behind the fears your own brain created to protect you? After everything we've uncovered, the fear of uncertainty, the amygdala's overreaction, the subconscious patterns replaying your past, the survival mode blocking your success, the fear that weakens your manifestations, and the bold action your brain desperately needs, one truth becomes clear: your mind is powerful enough to limit you, but also powerful enough to set you free. You were never manifesting from a lack of desire. You were manifesting from a place of protection. Your brain wasn't working against you. It was simply following old instructions. But now that you understand the science, the patterns, the wiring, and the fears hiding in the shadows, you finally have the power to rewrite the script. You finally have the power to choose growth over safety, clarity over doubt, and possibility over fear. Your manifestations aren't waiting for some cosmic permission slip. They're waiting for you. The bolder, braver, clearer version of you. The version who is done repeating the old story. The version ready to step into the unknown even while shaking. The version who understands that fear isn't a stop sign, it's a doorway. And the moment you walk through it, your entire life begins to shift. Thank you for listening, for reflecting, and for allowing these truths to enter the space of your heart and mind. I wish you the courage to take the first step, the strength to break your old patterns, and the faith to trust the new story you're creating. Good luck on your journey. May every step you take lead you closer to the life you are meant to live.